Welcome to GearCheckGames. This is part 11 of our commentary for Banjo-Kazooie. Last time we entered Gobi's Valley, collected a good number of Jiggies, and we managed to open up this giant pyramid in the center of the stage. Today we're gonna go inside and explore. But after we feed this guy some eggs.
Feed that bear.
He's a hungry bear.
Welcome to the carnival. You'll get a big stuffed animal if you feed the bear enough.
Yes, the ancient Egyptians, as we all know, loved their carnival games.
Yes.
Their egg shooting game.
Carnival games on the Wii. That's going to be our next playthrough.
Damn it, Ethan, they were supposed to decipher the clues, not be told them explicitly. Dan, every time we say something, you do like this nervous laugh. Where it's like, okay, they made a joke, but it wasn't funny, but I got to acknowledge it. Keep doing it, by the way. It's very kind of you.
I'm like the paid member of the audience that laughs at all of the jokes.
Dan is not a real person, he's just a series of sounds that we've collected to play over the videos.
There are a lot
convince people that they're watching something entertaining.
There are a lot of Mumbo tokens for a level that does not have a Mumbo.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of weird.
Well, yeah, there's, Oh wait, the next does have a Mumbo token. Sorry, I was thinking ahead.
Jinjus can
there
breathe
is
underwater.
a massive surplus of Mumbo tokens in this game. Like, especially, like, the further you get, the less you'll have to worry about it.
Yeah, to the point where you honestly just don't really need to worry about Mumbo tokens.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it almost makes me wonder if that was why in the second game they made it so instead of collecting, like, a number of things to buy the transformation, you just have to collect the one thing. But like, the way that Tooie simplified it made it, like, okay, it's so easy to get the thing that I need to transform that, like, why even have a thing? Because it's always, like, right next to his hut.
Does Mumbo not like the desert?
Desert, not good for skin.
Well, no, that's why Mumbo looks the way that he does. He's got all that, like... Mumbo looks like he was, like, burned alive.
Mumbo looks like he's like a Jinjo, but with lizard skin.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Oh god,
or
somebody...
with, like, horribly, like, charred skin.
Somebody who does fan art, someone make this.
Or don't. That's also an option.
Grotesque Mumbo. We don't really need to make him any more grotesque. And I think in an earlier part, I commented that I liked his Banjo-Kazooie 1 portrait better than the Tooie one that they used in this game. But having gone back to look at the original Mumbo design, I'd like to rescind that comment. Because original Mumbo is horrifying in everything but his in-game model.
I feel like I can't be freaked out about Mumbo because I read Spawn comics in the 90s and he just looks like Spawn. He just looks like Hamburger Head.
And I got the image of, like, wait, where's Mumbo? And he's like, your worst fucking nightmare.
Hey, it's the Witch Switch.
Yeah, Mumbo was going to be the villain of Banjo 3, but, you know, as you all know, we didn't make it that far, unfortunately. We got a third game, but it wasn't the third game we needed.
Did Mumbo die in between Banjo 2 and 3?
No, he's in Nuts and Bolts, albeit with a slight redesign. Actually, I think I might get raked over the coals for this, but apart from the overalls they gave him, I think Nuts and Bolts Mumbo is my favorite design for that character.
Nuts and Bolts did something right.
To me, Nuts and Bolts is like, I haven't played it myself, but just based on what I've seen of it, it seems like the sort of game that would have been fine. It's like the Federation Force situation where, like, it would have been received just fine if there had been, like, a real Banjo game released before it, or, like, announced before it at least. But because it was treated as, like, the replacement for a new Banjo, you know, that's kind of what caused the issue. But, like, it looks like a decently fun game for what it is.
This music, though.
I know.
You know, it's awfully nice of them that they made the witch switch visible at the end of the maze so that you know it's in there. And also just let you go right back out into the maze to get it.
You're right, that is good design. And I just noticed that the bees around the... Okay, they're not anymore, but the bees around the beehive that hadn't loaded in yet were, like, frozen.
I've seen that happen a few times.
Where'd it go, Microsoft?
They're waiting for their cue from the director.
Okay, we're on. Okay, let's go.
Sorry, we've only just come from the pyramid. We're all exhausted. We're getting our nerves back together.
They're union bees. They're like, unless the camera's pointed on us, we ain't moving.
They're like the extras from the final scene in A New Hope, who were just like making snide comments as Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford were like walking down the aisle.
Is that why it looked like they were about to laugh in that scene?
Possibly. Well, I think during a panel or something, he's probably told this story multiple times, but Mark Hamill has a story, something to the effect of like these extras when they were filming the final scene were like making fun of him. And after a few takes, he was just like, guys, we just saved the galaxy. Come on. Show some respect. And they all shut up and stood still.
That's Gobies.
Well, almost. We still have to collect a few more notes and
right.
I think we have one more honeycomb piece left over.
Yeah, you're right.
I appreciate Mark Hamill's dedication to the character and the narrative.
I mean, you know, not to go too deep down this rabbit hole, but it is kind of infamous by that point that he had some issues with like the portrayal of Luke in like the script for Last Jedi.
Yeah.
But in order to like still give a good performance, he like he came up with like a head canon that he was like a different character.
That's actually great.
and not Luke Skywalker. It's too bad that he doesn't I mean, I think he said like he likes the way that the movie turned out like ultimately, but it's too bad that he ever had any reservations about that performance, because he did a great job in that movie.
He really did.
I'd say that's his best work in the series, honestly.
He did great work in his performance as Duke Flybacher.
Duke.
Yeah, that was probably his name. God. So here's another recurring gag that'll get brought back in the second game is abusing Gobi the camel to get stuff, or to accomplish things. And this is not the final time that we'll see Gobi in this game. In fact, he'll show up in a later world for some more unwarranted punishment, I guess.
Is the desert named after him, or is it kind of like Gobi's are camels?
Maybe?
So like he's a desert camel. Or is
Well,
he...
Gobi didn't have very thoughtful parents. They just named him his species.
Yeah, it's like being named Nebraska. Or
Maybe. His name is
or
Nebraska.
Or like in Pokemon, where they never nickname their Pokemon. It's just like, go, Pikachu. It's like, I am a Pikachu.
Apologies to any fans who are named Nebraska. You have a lovely name.
There's
Don't let anybody tell you.
You also happen to share it with a state, so the joke is kind of there.
They also share it with a cyborg family from Trigun, so watch your back.
Oh yeah,
Nebraska.
The Nebraska family. Weren't they the villains in the first episode?
They're kind of like the I want to say they're kind of like the Team Rocket of Trigun. They're like reoccurring villains.
One of these days, people, I will, in fact, watch an anime other than Gurren Lagann.
And Pokemon.
And I can understand what... Well, that's not a real anime. It's not real. That was a joke.
Is anyone gonna get mad if you don't call it an anime? Because it's
Yes.
a cartoon. Like
it's
Well,
funny,
I've been
like...
telling everyone that Pokemon was the first anime I ever watched when I was a kid. And I was just like, why are their mouths and faces and eyes like that? Oh well. I mean, it's got Pikachu and it looks cool, so I like it.
You know what's funny is, like, I don't know if he still stands by this, but my buddy Mike and I have had multiple conversations in the past where he has asserted to me that not only is Pokemon not a real anime for some reason, but the games are also not real RPGs.
I feel like that's got to be one of the nerdiest arguments you could ever have.
Yeah.
Whether or not Pokemon counts as an anime and as RPGs.
Well, the degree to which it's changed in the dub, I can... If that's the angle you're coming from, that I can understand, but that's not where he's coming from. Mike, I hope we can still be friends after I've slandered you so many times in these videos.
We still gotta have him on for whenever we finally get there, a Pokemon Gen 3 playthrough.
One day, man. It'll happen. The fabled Mike will make his GCG debut.
Yes. He does exist. So, what's the next world?
Well, my dear boy, the next world is what many consider to be the best in the game, including myself and Dan.
Rusty Bucket
And,
Bay.
and everybody with the... Oh, no. Dan, that was the opposite of the correct answer. God, Rusty Bucket Bay would be a decent level if it just weren't for... Well, I guess in the Xbox Live version it's not so bad, but like in the original N64 version...
It's definitely the most harrowing of all the levels.
Wait,
yeah.
Is it time?
What is
This filter? I'm sorry, this filter looks terrible.
It's weird.
And it doesn't go
Like,
all the way
most
to
of
the
the
bottom
time-
of the screen.
Uh-huh. Well, like... It looks like video compression almost, but
Yeah.
like, no, that's actually how it looks in the game.
Is that how it looked in the N64 version, too?
Well, yeah, they've always had this, when you go underwater, they put like a blue filter over the screen, I guess to heighten immersion, quote unquote, but also, I don't know, I guess it just didn't play nice with that like tunnel texture back there, because most of the time it's, you know, it's not too obtrusive.
It's Monster Bash time.
Heck yeah.
Mad Monster Mansion.
This level's so good, it's got 3 alliterated words.
It's so good I can't bring myself to commentate over its music.
Yeah. Do we have to go inside of a boo to find this level?
Thankfully, no. I mean, God, that was weird. Now that I think it. That's one of those things that, like, you get so accustomed to it, but then you, like, step back from it, it's like, I'm going inside of a boo to... Well, no, you're not going
You didn't
inside
go in
the
a
boo.
boo, you went into a little tiny boo house that a boo was carrying inside of it.
Was it a house or a cage? It always looked like a cage to
It
me.
was a cage with a little tiny boo house in it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that was the bounding box of the level.
So I have a meta question for Mario 64 fans. In
Yes.
What a question, you say.
In Mario
I'll speak
64,
for all of them.
In Mario 64 DS, can Yoshi go to that world?
I would assume so.
As we all know, Yoshi is a yellow-bellied coward who
He
can't go
is.
inside ghost houses.
He's scared of ghosts.
He's allowed to go in because he's wearing a Mario hat that makes him feel braver.
And then in New Super Mario Brothers, I don't think he can go out of any level where you get him.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Weird.
Did anyone else notice the extreme close-up of Grunty's nose back there?
Yeah. Do you have to walk on her chin to get in there?
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that all these things that Grintilda is telling us are
Is
just
it worth it?
Yes.
No, it's not worth it.
Not yet.
You fall off of that, you'll have to start the entire fire temple over again.
Yeah, it doesn't kill us. It warps us back to like the lobby entrance of Grunty's lair.
I also really like just the outside level area of this place too.
Oh yeah.
It's probably
Well,
got
one of the things we'll
most,
see when we
like,
actually
kind of complex, or it's probably got one of the most like fleshed out and complex like outside the level areas.
Yeah, there's an area that we can't get to yet, but like there's a whole like shed that you can only access utilizing the transformation you get in Mad Monster Mansion that we'll have to show off when we complete the level.
And it has the only Mumbo hut in Grunty's castle. Or Grunty's lair.
Yeah. Right. Another visual thing I always liked about Mad Monster Mansion that you can kind of see here is that everything is kind of to like a weird scale.
Yeah,
like they almost make it. They make it out to be that Banjo is like tiny and everything else around him is like giant.
There's almost like a Dr. Seuss feeling to it, where everything's kind of off, but like in a good way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
Well, it's like a very
up on that for a bit. I realized that you could just break it.
That's another one of those like alligator banjo things where you have to make sure that if you don't want to waste a bunch of time going back and transforming, you're gonna need to get rid of that gate before you go into the level and transform. Because unfortunately, well, you know how it is. God, I really hated in Tooie how much they do that, where it's like, if you've played the game before, you might remember where some of like the Mumbo pads are, but then in the later levels they start putting like in Hailfire Peaks they'll put the pad inside like an ice block or something that you need Banjo and Kazooie to like preemptively remove before Mumbo can use it. I think Mumbo can maybe get rid of the ice blocks, but there's like something else in the game that you have to like get rid of before he can use his spell. It's just padding at that point.
That's why I always saved Mumbo until after I found whatever pads I needed him for.
Right. But again, that takes its own length of time where it's like, where you're just going around the level, not really accomplishing anything, but like getting all the locations in your head and like figuring out what you have to. I don't know. We'll get to Tooie when we get to it, but for the time being, join us in the next episode when we head into everybody's favorite level.
Spooky.
It's spooky.
The next one. Goodbye.